In the previous video, we took a look at creating skeletons or joints in Mudbox, and you saw how you can use Mudbox's joints for posing your characters, for posing your meshes. In this video, we're going to take just a very quick look at how we can take a mesh that has a skeleton in it from Maya and bring it into Mudbox. It's much easier, much more intuitive to create more complicated skeletons in Maya than it is in Mudbox. So here I've got this example of a mesh that I simply grabbed from the content browser in Maya. I did not create this mesh myself because I wanted to use it just for an example here. But what you'll notice is we've got our mesh, and then if I hide the mesh, you'll see that here is the skeleton that I've created. Much more complex skeleton than what we were looking at in Mudbox because it has more branching off of the hips, for instance. Off the hips, we've got skeleton branching off and going to the spine. We've got it going off to the tail here and also to the two legs, all branching off from that hip joint. We've got from my spine joint here, two arms branching off, as well as the neck joints, and so on. So it's a much more complicated and functional skeleton than what we were able to easily create in Mudbox. In addition, I've also quickly gone through and skinned it. Didn't try to get it perfect, but tried to get something that is functional here. So you'll see that it is currently skinned. I am able to select the different joints and pose this character. So let's go ahead and see what we can do about bringing this into Mudbox. So I'm going to go ahead and select my mesh, and I will select the skeleton and go to File, Send to Mudbox, Send as New Scene. And here it came in without any complaints. You can see my mesh and the skeleton here. Now, before I start working on doing any posing, I'm going to go ahead and create a layer for this. And we can just test out the pose a little bit, see how well the bind is working. So I've got my pose tool selected, and I'll simply select some of these joints and try rotating them and just generally just test and see how well the rig, or skeleton rather, is functioning. And so far so good. Looks like maybe a little bit of some weighting issues there that can be pretty simply fixed. But otherwise it appears to be working pretty well. Let's go ahead and just test the layers here. I'm going to go back to my sculpt tools, hide and unhide the layer, and that seems to be working as well. So if you have some familiarity with creating skeletons and binding meshes in Maya, there is some functionality to be able to bring in those skeletons and joints from Maya so that maybe you have something a little bit easier to pose, a little bit more functional to pose than just relying on Mudbox's pose tools found here. Anyway, I hope that this has been helpful for you, and thank you for watching.